Sirenhead, the ultimate predator. It's responsible for more missing persons reports than any other phenomenon in the world. But the ultimate predator may have met its match because a new monster stalks the woods and abandoned industrial parks of the world. And it has an appetite for Sirenheads. Today, we're bringing you the inside scoop on the only creature known to hunt and eat Sirenheads, thanks to leaked highly classified U.S. Department of Defense reports. Note, this report is classified top secret, Omega and ISIs only. Unauthorized distribution punishable by 30 years imprisonment and $100,000 fine. Subject: Sirenhead. Classification: biological unknown. Origin: unknown. Possibly extraterrestrial or supernatural. Sirenhead is a predator whose origins are unknown and measures up to 40 feet in height. It's a horrendous-looking creature with a thin, emaciated-looking body that's almost skeletal, covered in a layer of flesh and muscle that gives the appearance of being mummified. Handily, its flesh is often the color of rust, and often has a very textured appearance. This helps the creature to remain camouflaged while standing still, with casual observers mistaking it for an old wooden electric pole and an odd-looking tree or a rusty metal scaffolding of some sort. Rather than a head though, the monster has a thin metal pole, atop of which is typically one or two siren-looking appendages. These appendages not only take the form of a siren, hence the name, but also the function, and the creature is well known to be able to mimic a great number of man-made noises such as radio chatter, emergency alert signals, train and boat horns, and even human voices. It uses this ability to lure prey in and then stun it, typically by first making curious noises and then blasting its prey with very loud sounds which can leave it stunned. It can even kill through volume. It's unknown how the creature developed this adaptation, and the lack of historical accounts of Sirenhead sightings seems to indicate that the creature has only been around since the Industrial Revolution. However, some Native American folk tales of large, spindly-limbed creatures that live in the forests of North America, along with similar stories around the world from indigenous populations, seem to indicate that perhaps Sirenhead has been around a lot longer than that. It may be then that its Sirenhead appendages are simply a recent evolutionary adaptation. Very rarely, though, Sirenheads are described as having lights, either along with their sirens or in place of. These appendages function remarkably similar to a very high-power spotlight, or a collision light as seen in a lighthouse. Often the creature will lay in wait and upon prey approaching, blast them with a very powerful beam of light, which cannot just be disorienting but outright blinding. Whether Sirenheads hunt with a traditional siren appendage or the newly reported spotlight appendages, the result is the same. Hapless victims are immediately devoured. Interestingly, these appendages appear to be part metal and part flesh. Researchers have met with difficulty in examining the exact nature of these strange appendages, given Sirenhead's extreme resiliency versus firearms and the equally extreme danger of attempting to hunt one down. Recovered corpses are typically so badly damaged by heavy weapons fire and explosives that there's little scientific value left in the cadaver, leaving the exact nature of these dual flesh and metal appendages unknown to science. Some specialists suspect that the creature may actually graft functional sirens or spotlights directly onto its body, somehow wiring the devices straight into its own nervous system. As Sirenheads are often seen with wires running from the devices and into their bodies, this is a plausible, if incredible, explanation, and may suggest that the creatures are completely separate from standard Earth biology, a conclusion that hints at extraterrestrial or supernatural origin. Whatever the case, the creature must somehow power the device with its own body, perhaps by use of an electricity-generating organ that functions similarly to that of stingrays and other such fish, albeit with the capacity to store electric energy rather than discharge it suddenly for long duration of use of the attached siren or spotlight. To date, the only Sirenheads known to have been successfully neutralized have been the work of the U.S. military, which has had to rely on close air support assets, such as A-10 Warthogs and AH-64 Apaches, to sufficiently damage the creature. Dismounted infantry has proven completely ineffective and only leads to near total casualties, while infantry mounted within armored vehicles has achieved a greater modicum of success, although the creatures are fully capable of ripping open even Bradley armored fighting vehicles. M1 Abrams and similar main battle tanks have proven largely ineffective against Sirenheads. Even though the M1's composite armor is more than strong enough to resist a Sirenhead's attack, the creature is simply too skinny a target for reliably accurate hits on target. Intelligence reports indicate that the Chinese have found a measure of success using their Type 99 tanks by outfitting them with special canister munitions designed to explode shortly before impact, showering a targeted Sirenhead with a classified mixture of chemicals that seems highly effective at burning away the creature's flesh. Despite these reports, it's not believed that the Chinese have managed to actually neutralize a Sirenhead, though their military is increasingly responding to this growing threat. Long believed to be a strictly North American phenomenon, the creature has been increasingly reported across the world, specifically in China, where the population's massive modernization push and expansion of cities has seen billions of acres of forest chopped down, stripping away what may have been the creature's natural habitat and forcing it to invade urban centers to feed. With friction between the US and China over Chinese illegal claims over the South China Sea, the US military and NATO as a whole has been slow to share intelligence with their People's Liberation Army counterparts on how to successfully combat the growing threat. The only guaranteed way to eliminate a Sirenhead is the use of thermobaric weapons. These weapons contain a fuel and oxidizer mixture, typically 25% fuel and 75% oxidizer, to achieve explosive yields far in excess of conventional explosives. While Sirenheads have proven remarkably resilient to explosive and fire damage, the intense heat reaching into the tens of thousands of degrees of a thermobaric weapon such as a fuel-air explosive has reliably proven to overcome Sirenheads. The problem with this strategy is the massive collateral damage caused by the use of such weapons, which in heavily forested environments can spark massive forest fires. A thermobaric weapon employed against a rampaging Sirenhead feasting on the campers outside of Oregon Ochoco National Forest was responsible for much of the 2020 forest fire season damage in the region. The use of thermobaric weapons against Sirenhead targets in urban areas is strictly forbidden, and research continues into new weapon prototypes that can be safely and reliably used to neutralize the creature in urban environments. Sirenheads exhibit great strength proportionate to their massive sizes, and have been known to uproot trees and tear open armored vehicles. The creatures are incredibly resilient to damage, and small-caliber firearms are completely ineffective against them. Larger caliber weapons such as a 50 caliber machine gun and M242 Bushmaster 25mm autocannons have shown some degree of effectiveness, if not in neutralizing, at least deterring a rampaging Sirenhead. The GAU-8 Avenger 30mm cannon equipped on the A-10 Warthog has proven effective at causing severe damage to a Sirenhead, but the creature's spindly nature makes it very difficult to score a direct hit. Additionally, the use of such high-profile assets such as the A-10 in American forests or in urban areas makes continuing to keep the creature's existence out of the public's knowledge increasingly difficult. This need for secrecy to avert all-out panic by the populace further drives the need for an effective man-portable weapon that can reliably neutralize a Sirenhead. Directed energy weapons have shown some promise, but these still remain far too cumbersome for successful infantry operations. In addition to their great strength and resilience, Sirenheads are remarkably agile, frequently documented running at speeds in excess of 35 miles per hour. Given their natural camouflage and great speed, ground assets are at a major disadvantage in tracking and pursuing a Sirenhead through difficult terrain, necessitating the need for air support. The difficulty in tracking the creature, however, is increased by its ability to naturally camouflage itself as trees or metal structures. The creature seems to be able to match its thermal conductivity with the ambient temperature, making it impossible to detect on infrared sensors. Artificial intelligence paired with low Earth orbit reconnaissance satellites have proven very effective at identifying the presence of a Sirenhead in an area suspected of the creature's activity. While a satellite takes hundreds of photos of a search site, AI automatically scans each photo to learn the natural layout of the environment. Upon the appearance of the creature, the AI is able to successfully alert to its presence no matter how good the creature's camouflage may be, as it detects the creature as an anomaly in a known environment. However, on the ground, tracking is still incredibly difficult. A solution is being heavily researched in order to address the problem of extremely high casualties amongst search team personnel. Incredibly, new reports have not just identified a change in the creature's physiology with the adoption of spotlight-type head appendages, but an entirely new breed of Sirenhead altogether. Classified as Cryptid Siren X2, the troops have given it the appropriate nickname Megahorn. Unlike a typical Sirenhead, which normally consists of emaciated bipedal body with one or more siren or spotlight-type appendages where its head should be, the Megahorn instead is almost uniform in appearance with a very large torso supported by multiple spider-like legs. Each leg ends in a very dexterous hand with multiple digits ranging from 4 to 6, and often sports an opposable thumb. Atop its body is an extremely large bullhorn-like appendage with a further antenna-like appendage growing out of the top of it. Much like a Sirenhead, the bullhorn-like appendage conceals a massive mouth, which the creature uses to feed. The Megahorn is much larger than the average Sirenhead, typically standing 1.5 times as tall and easily weighing as much as 3 times more. Despite its increased bulk, it's surprisingly nimble and uses its multiple limbs in much the same way as a spider to scurry along, reaching speeds comparable to a Sirenhead. The Megahorn is capable of producing very tremendous blasts of sound, though appears to not be able to, or perhaps not interested in, recreating the range of sounds observed being produced by Sirenheads. There are no reports of Megahorns using mimicry to attract prey, though the creature will often still blast out very high-volume electronic-sounding wails and screams, some of which can resemble human emergency alert signals. Curiously, while the creature is in fact hostile to humans, it seems to be overwhelmingly fixated on hunting and feeding on Sirenheads. It has been observed on numerous occasions to hunt down and devour Sirenheads whole, even feeding on entire groups of them all at once. Individual Sirenheads seem to have no natural defense against the Megahorn, though groups of them working together have at times successfully driven off the attacker, albeit at very high cost. Much like the Sirenhead, the Megahorn's origins are completely unknown, though in this case there is no possible link to the folklore of indigenous populations or mythological histories from any human population in the world. It's believed then that the Megahorn may represent a form of life completely unknown to us, and almost certainly either extraterrestrial or supernatural in nature. Given its rather sudden appearance and the fact that Sirenheads appear to be its natural prey, hostility towards humans, there is a growing concern that some sort of extraterrestrial or supernatural biosphere is slowly being spread into our world, contaminating our own Earth-based biosphere. If Megahorn's origins are not swiftly identified and steps taken to contain any new related species to appear, there is every possibility that this unknown or alien biosphere may eventually fully replace our own, driving humans and all other Earth species into extinction. Much like Sirenhead, the Megahorn has shown to be extremely resistant to damage, but some amongst the current and previous administration's National Security Council have suggested tracking but not interfering with the creatures. Given that the Megahorn's natural prey is Sirenhead, it's hoped that one will consume the other to extinction, or at least to a manageable population level. Now check out Sirenhead versus the US military, or click this other video instead.